Hello folks and welcome. Linux Mint 21.2 Cinnamon. Today I'm going to talk about archiving and compressing with passwords also. This is for anyone that wants to learn a little bit about compression. I'm going to take my time and explain a lot of things. These tools are all available in your Nemo file manager if you haven't discovered them yet. But I'm going to show you some tips and tricks regarding this. I'm filming in 1920 by 1080, so you can adjust your YouTube player accordingly if necessary. You are watching this on Linux for Seniors. You should see this logo here above your time date, or you could click that if you're not a subscriber to subscribe. What do you find on Linux for Seniors? Over 260 videos on all kinds of tips and tricks. If you're currently a subscriber, thank you and welcome back. If you don't see that logo here, don't subscribe here, down here. If you don't see that, go find me on YouTube. All right, I am going to open up files. I'm going to open up Nemo, the file manager. Now, a lot of you folks are new, and some of you have been using Mint for a while. And some of you may not be aware that some of these tools exist. But in either case, I'm going to talk about archiving, compression, and compression with passwords. All right? So I will close this. And I'll leave this open for a second. First of all, Mary is our user for today. Could be Bob, it could be anybody's name, but Mary is the name of the full user for today. Just a made-up name. I'm going to first talk about backup programs. You have the backup tool already installed. You were asked to activate TimeShift. TimeShift is a system restore utility. It normally doesn't make backups of your personal files by default, but it does use rsync, remote sync. And I also have plenty of videos how to use rsync and grsync for personal backups, including some advanced stuff on script files, if you're curious. I'm going to open the backup tool. Some of you folks are familiar with this and some maybe not so much. I'm going to do backup now. Instead of selecting the default folder, I'm going to just use Mary's home folder. So I'm going to select that and hit forward. And this normally excludes the document backups on purpose because that's normally where your backups are stored. And then you can add your hidden files and folders. I'm not going to add anything. So when you use this tool, it should be fairly quick depending on the speed of your computer, but right now it's going to be making a tar ball. I call it a tar box. You can see how fast it did this. This is non-compressed though. So that's 5.5 gigabytes. That's everything that you see on the screen here in this folder. So that threw that in there. All right, that's including the videos that I have in here. So that's why this is large, but everything is in the box. All right, but I'm going to talk about using the same tool in your file manager, but just using individual things. We're good to go on that? tar, .tar, period tar. Tape archive is what that stands for. Okay. So, but since Mary does a lot of deleting of files, maybe pictures, you know, that kind of stuff. Maybe she has some stuff in her junk folder. I don't know. But more importantly, this is a personal folder. And she has a tendency once in a while to dump the trash and a file gets deleted by accident. And the trash can normally is where you can retrieve it, but the trash got emptied like this. Now you have nothing to fall back on unless you made an actual backup. Well, I'm going to show you using tar to make a simple backup. Select the folders you want either manually by holding down the control key, or you can just drag a box around certain files. I'm going to just use actually one more. I'm going to use pictures also. But I'm not going to make copies of everything that I did earlier. I'm just going to select these items. So that's what the benefit of this tool is. You don't have to do all of them. You can just do individual ones. I'll include downloads with it. Then you can right click on any one of these things and hit compress. Now, before I continue, a lot of the naysayers out there are going, well, compression is dead. Nobody uses that anymore. I beg to differ. Do you watch streaming movie services like Netflix, for instance? I'm sure you know what Netflix is. most of those videos that leave those Netflix servers are compressed, and when they arrive at your unit, whether it's a Amazon Fire Stick, Roku box, maybe it's a smart TV with an app, or possibly your mobile devices like Android, iPhones, tablets, or even your computers. They're decompressed there. They're compressed across the internet for speed, and then they're uncompressed on your device. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about this same process on your computer using the tools built into Nemo. So the tar tool can be found in the compression area, this one right here. And you'll see a listing of them, starting with .7z and zip. This list will change also, slightly, but I'm going to use tar. Tape archive. I would encourage that you actually put dates on these things. I'm just going to call it Merry Stuff. And I'm going to put 11/9/2023. And then I'm going to hit create. And right now it'll have a cryptic name until it finishes. And then once it's crunching, it's not really crunching, it's just throwing stuff in the box. All right, so lots of stuff in here. One of the reasons it's large is because Mary already has a 2.7 gigabyte backup file. So let's delete that. And I'll click this and redo this one more time. You can see that's 5.4 gigabytes. You saw how quickly it threw these in the box. So let me redo this. Same set of folders. Let me go in this way. I think that was the same set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one has 0. That doesn't matter. And we're going to use, again, Merry Stuff, 11/9/2023. Now, why would I recommend a date on some of these? That's because you can make many tar balls, tar boxes, and then throw them in a backup folder of some sort, or even on a USB stick. Okay, that's why. The reason that was a little faster is because I deleted that 2.7 gigabyte file that was in here. But in either case, you can see how fast it did this. Everything's in the box. All subfolders. What good is this? Well, I'm going to give you the prime example. Our trash is empty, right? Well, not really, but it is now. And Mary is editing documents, or Mary is going through her pictures folder and she inadvertently deletes something. I'll just do one JPEG on purpose. Could be Bob, it could be Mary, it could be your name, it could be anyone's. That's never happened to you, I'm sure. It's happened to me many times over the years. All right, so in either case, it's still in my trash, but I neglected to look at my trash because I got a bunch of junk and I just wanted to empty the can. Now the file is gone, isn't it? The one JPEG is missing. Not really, it's in here. Okay, so basically, if I have this saved in here, which I do, I can pull out that one JPEG without extracting everything, because that's all I needed was that. And then I can cut it and throw it back in here. So now my one JPEG is back online. So that's one of the benefits of making a tar box or tar ball. Okay. Again, I'm doing everything by the file manager. So now I have some examples over here with 5 items. So 2 folders and 3 files. And we call these directories also in Linux. But anyways, we're just going to call them folders. So 2 folders and 3 files. Do we know what kind of things joint photographic group images are? JPEGs. Well, they're found on digital cameras, yes, and they're also found in the format of your smartphones that take pictures. Well, a lot of people have smartphones nowadays and they use the cameras on their phones. But anyways, joint photographic groups in general are not worth compressing because they're already compressed. Some of them. I'll give you that example in a second. But I'm also going to talk about selecting multiple items and also compressing and making tar balls, also tar boxes. So let's do the first one. I can click and drag and select everything. I can also use Control A to select all, however you want to select things. You can of course select individual things too, and then hold down the Control key and select different items. But in either case, I'm going to select all. Alright, so I'm going to right click, compress, and still use tar. Tar is in the compression area, but it doesn't compress. So we'll call that downloads 1 and hit create. So you can see how fast it did that. So I'm going to right click on this and cut it. You can use Control X if you like. There's some keyboard shortcuts for you. And I do have other videos on keyboard shortcuts, but more importantly, Control X is cut. And I'm going to open up this nice clean USB stick because I have lots of devices, but I'm just going to play with this one. And I'm going to right click and paste that. All right, I'll make that a little bit larger if you like. I'm waiting for the transfer. USB sticks inherently are slow, but it doesn't matter if it's 2 or 3. In my book, USB sticks are slow in general. All right, so that is 51.1 megabytes. Let me go to Mary's home folder and right click on this. Okay, so you can see there's 5 items in here. How big is this folder? It's 50.9, 51 megabytes. That's what we have in here, 51.1, who cares? It's still not compressed, in other words. Now I'm going to select the same. Right click and compress. This time I'm going to use true compression. In other words, actually compress things. So here's the list I currently have, starting with period or .7z, ending with period or .zip. The .zip or period zip is very common, not only with Linux, but Microsoft Windows and Macs. I'll call this one downloads 2 and hit create. Takes a little bit longer because it's crunching these. I am going to cut this and throw that on the stick and do one more set. I'm just waiting for it to finish because again, this USB sticks are slow inherently. Right click, compress. This time I'm going to go to the opposite end and go to the top and use .7z or period 7z. No encryption. All right, right click, cut, and paste. So let's compare some apples to apples. So this has all the files in it. This has all the files in it, and this one has all the files in it. The only difference is this one is not compressed as far as compression is concerned. These are 51.1 megabytes, 33.5, and 29.8. This one wins as far as being the smallest box out of the 3. Food for thought. Do you have 2 Linux computers? Do you have 2 Linux Mint computers? Throw that on the USB stick. It doesn't matter which one you use. And you can extract one item out of here or more, or all of them. That's all up to you. If I just want the 142 JPEG, then I would just do it that way. If I just wanted the PDF, that's all I needed, then I can close this. I didn't have to extract everything. Okay, spacebar to open and close, spacebar to open and close. It doesn't matter which one I use. All right, so again, the tar ball or tar box is non-compressed. The .7z is, and so is the zip. You're trying to squeeze information on a smaller device. You're just generally wanting to save space. Again, could I have been using this in this area here? Absolutely. It doesn't matter where you place these things. I'm just showing you an example of using that on the stick. Now let me talk about a little bit of privacy. Okay, so you have these tools that are built into Nemo. Are they industrial and foolproof? No, but they'll give you a little bit of privacy. I'm going to select all 5 again and right click and hit compress. And I'm going to use 7z with a password. So think of a good password. I'm just going to use a simple one for this explanation. And since I selected multiple folders and files, I'm going to encrypt the file list also. I could also select another option called split into volumes, which makes this file into several chunks based on the number that I put here. I normally don't use that. But I'm going to call this one, I forgot what it was, 3 maybe, and create. So this again is a password you should try to remember or pick that's not easily guessable, because the whole purpose you're doing this is for privacy. All right, now I'm going to demo this. Pardon me, need some more coffee. All right, so the difference of all of these boxes is the same. They all contain the same amount of files, whether it's a tar or whether they're compressed. Okay, you can see that. This one, on the other hand, when you double click, it asks for a password up front. It doesn't show you what's in there. You have no idea what's in the box. So I'm going to give it a bogus password. Okay, and you get an error. And more importantly, you get a blank box. So you don't have no idea what's in downloads 3. This is, again, meant for privacy reasons. You can think about it any way you want. However you want to do this. Is this perfect? No. Can this be broken with industrial encryption tools? Yes. Is it good for home use? Absolutely. Because most of your family members are probably not hackers. Maybe they are. But more importantly, this is meant for privacy reasons. And if your whole family group is a bunch of hackers, then probably you don't want to use this. Or maybe. Anyways, let's give it the correct password. And as soon as you do, you'll see the file list. Now you can either uncompress them on the stick or on your computer. It doesn't really matter. So I will do the same on the desktop. Okay, it doesn't matter where I decompress these things. But as soon as I close the box, I have to re-put in my password. All right, here's another method. I'll still use the same set, and I'm going to use zip this time, all the way to the bottom. This one does not allow me to encrypt the file list, but it does allow me to give it a password. Okay, and I'm going to show you the difference on that. I forgot what the number I used last, so I'll call it 9. And we're going to take that one and cut it and toss it on here. Getting a little crowded with boxes in here. All right, so I'm waiting for it to finish. So 33.5, 33.5, because both of these are in zip formats. The only difference on this one does not have passwords. So if I were to pull out a text, you can click and hit the space bar and you can see there's text there. This one, on the other hand, looks like the same thing, except they're locked. And when you do this, it'll ask for a password. If you give it a bad password, or try to guess it, it will still produce a thumbnail with an error. I'll do the same with the PDF. And you're probably saying, I went around the password and I can get files over here. Really? Is that true? Let's find out. Spacebar. Oh, it's blank. What's going on with this thing? Let me click the text file, spacebar. Do you recall when I did this earlier? You can see text in here. Would you like me to double click? There you go. This is XED, standard text editor. There's no data in here. There's no words. The PDF will give me an error. It's empty. There's nothing here. So yes, it does give you the file names and a thumbnail, but you can't see what's in there. All right. Can you do the same thing with the photo? I'm going to give it a bad password. And you can see the thumbnail there. Watch what happens when I hit the space bar. It's blank. Watch what happens when I double click on it. I get an error. So it's incorrect file format. There's something wrong with it. How big is this file? 0 bytes. Okay, let's do this the proper way. If you're extracting all of them, you're going to be requested to put a password. If you extract just one item, you're going to be requested to put a password. I'll do the PDF. Okay. And I'll also pull the text file out since I was playing with those two. Spacebar. Oh, now I have text. And now I have my PDF. Are these perfect tools? No, but they're included with your Nemo file manager for a little bit of privacy, for whatever purpose you want to choose. So again, compressing certain JPEGs or joint photographics groups, probably not worth it. Compressing certain small text files may be not worth it if you're just doing one. If you do it as a group, then I would probably say yes. I'm going to choose the icon folder by itself and do a tar. First, standard tar using icons, no other options. It is 40.6 megabytes. This is 40.5. The 0.1 is not really worth talking about. Right click, compress. What do you want to use for literal compression? You notice I have a different list now. This list is now longer than it was before when I selected them as a group. You didn't have ZST earlier. I'm going to just choose zip. Let's compare these three. I have the tar at 40.6 and I have the zip at 23, so roughly half. Not quite, but close. So quite a bit of compression. The tar, no compression. The original, again, was 40.5. All right, now I'm going to delete these. Select all of them again, and let's take a look at this list. Starts with period or .7z and ends with .zip or period zip, right? If I do the single file, same command, this list is longer because it's got extra stuff. You'll have ZST at the bottom. Okay. Yeah, I got a little bit of compression on there, but it's really, you know, is it worth compressing just one file? I don't know. That's all up to you. But more importantly, I'm just showing you a different way. This one is ZST. That was not available when I selected all of them. So sometimes you also will get errors depending on the file types you selected. But in general, a lot of these will work, and they will work differently. They will compress in different formats. They will, some of them will have bigger bytes, and less bytes, bits and bytes. Anyways, you have lots of options in here. But again, I wanted to introduce you today's video mostly about tar and compression, and then introduce you a little bit about passwords. None of these tools are perfect, but again, this is something that you can either place these files as backup units for tar, or put them on USB sticks and share your files with other computers in your household, 2 Linux computers for instance. And you can also compress them to try to squeeze them on USB sticks if that's what you care about. The third option too, of course, if you're dealing with FTP, file transfer protocol, and or emailing, you may want to reduce the footprint from 51 to something smaller if you're emailing. Okay, a lot of these things are obviously large, but more importantly, you just get the idea that you can compress things for email purposes. Would I be emailing this normally as a whole folder? Probably not. But I could be possibly uploading that through a file transfer protocol or FTP. A lot of people do this on a daily basis. Some people watch movies all day long. Those Netflix, they're arriving on your devices compressed, and then your unit uncompresses things. There's lots of things to think about when we deal with compression. There's also the thing about a little bit of privacy. But again, the tools that are built into Nemo are meant for home use and not industrial. But at least it will give you some options when you're dealing with stuff like this. A little bit of privacy, let's put it that way. Thank you for watching.